Okay, we've unzipped and opened and arranged our windows. Now let's take a look at our first export. Before you export individual pages, it's important to export the whole thing all at once. But before we do that, let's make some really basic changes. We don't want the thing called title. We'll call this demo for video. And the subtitle will be Hello Tinderbox Forum People. Boy, that's awful. What else could we change? This is all very self-explanatory, these little things. You select them and then hit Command 5 or Option Command X, and then you just have a control panel that covers that particular widget. In this case, let's change this to this is a demo for video. And how about let's change the navbar. The navbar is a special case. It's an adornment and not a note. So to change it, you have to use the inspector. The things that we can change are the color and the stickiness. So if it's not sticky, you see it has this up-down arrow. That means that it moves with the page as you scroll the page around. If it's sticky, it's locked. That means the page will scroll, but the navbar will remain on the top of the browser, remain visible. As for color, that's easily modified. We can change the color to something unattractive like that. Okay, let's change our normal note color to black, let's say. Oh, by the way, the default navbar button is supposed to be transparent to the navbar color. So to update it, just click the rule disable thing and it makes it look transparent. For hovering, let's keep it like that. And then for the current active one, let's make it, I like this thing where we make it the same color as the banner. So let's see, the color of the banner is this very light gray. We'll copy it, and then we'll click on this guy and make its background the same color. And now we have to change we'll make it a bright red. That's pretty hideous, but that's okay because we're showing what's possible. Any other changes? Oh, how about this? The color of the background. This is optional for pages. It's not going to be invoked for every page. It's only invoked if you use the background color option. But we set it here in the Styles dash. So let's set our background color to, how about this particular pink? Very light. Is that okay? Alright. Oh, and we can also set the color for the so-called card, which is the levitating card effect that sometimes appears if you use the card background option. Well, let's make the color of the card something akin to pink, but not pink. So we'll get our original, how about this guy? Close to pink. And we'll move that saturation down. Is that that's kind of a nice pastel thing. Okay, I'm from Miami, so this is acceptable for my cohort. Alright, so we've given a name, subtitle, we made a couple changes. The navbar is sticky, it's got these ridiculous colors. There's this background page color of pink, and then there's, for the text cards, there's this light blue color. We've given it a blurb. Okay, let's go ahead and export. Go to File, Export as HTML, and go. This will take only a couple minutes, but I'll go ahead and skip through time for us. We're back, and now we have something that we can double click on. We have the index.html and then our index folder full of all of our stuff. So let's click on this index.html, and there it is. this is what we have. Categories page, archives, about page, pages page. That's a drop down, demo. So anything, something about, here we go, something long enough so we can see that yes, the nav bar is in fact sticky. Great, works great. Now let's look at some background options. To see the background options, I set something up. Go to the Templates tab and then move this to the right and then go up and then look, they're the background options. Background options for the home page, for pages, for the About page, for the 404 page, for archives, and for categories. These are options. So when you add a background option, it affects the background. So the home page has the background texture option, which is this metallic thing. If I get rid of that and then re-export my home page, remember to click on this, it'll change the name automatically for you. And now refresh it, the texture should be gone. And it is. And notice that when BoxPress recognizes that when the texture is removed, it also changes the border, so it's more flush. Very nice. But let's say that I want these teasers to export not separated by horizontal rules, as they are here, but as floating cards. Well, in that case, I would add the card export option and export. Refresh, and now look. They're cards, and they include that background color that we picked for our cards, this pastel blue. Now, let's say that I want to add the background color. And by the way, this is an easy way to do this. Look, pop-up menu, background color off, background color on, card off, card on. So I was just showing you that there's this nice, once again, a control panel type arrangement that you can use to overview all of your settings. But maybe we don't need that right now. So how about background color and card? Let's export that again. And what's going to happen? The background of our body should change. And it did. Let's say that we want to add the texture, that metal grain. So now we have color, card, and texture. How's that going to look? Export. There it is. So, wow, isn't that easy? So you can do that with your home page. And then for this special pages page right here, this happens to have no color, just a texture and card. And pages, texture, and card. Correct. Now let's say that we wanted to override that background color. So our default background color is this horrendous pink. Let's say that we wanted the pages page to not have that horrendous pink, but to have something else. So to override it, you go to background color. So this overrides the default color, this overrides the default texture, and this overrides the default image. What are these default textures and images? Well, they're the ones in the current theme folder. Here's your theme folder. It's inside of image. So export folder, image, and then themes. So what theme folder am I using? Well, it tells me right here, metal theme. So go in the metal theme folder, and then here's your stuff. Here's the texture for the banner, texture for the body, These all have special names. Everything that doesn't have a purple dot next to it is a default file. So if you want to change the banner texture to something else, just drop in a file with the name banner texture, and that will be your texture for the banner. If you want to change the body texture to something else besides this thing, just drop it in there and give it that name. So convenient. It lets you manage your images where they should be managed, in the Finder. Okay. So now if I want to override the styles dash background, which is pink, with a particular background, in this case for the pages page, I would select the note, make sure that I have color activated, and then override it with a new color, like a light green, for example. And now export the note, blog pages, there's the green, and so on. You can use texture, image, or in color. Well, let's About Note is using the default image, and remember the default image for metal theme is this. And so if we go to About Page, there it is. That's our background image. So this control panel setup lets you have an overview. Look, there's our override of all the background settings for all your pages whatsoever. That's very convenient. Okay, let's put our export window back and reduce its size a little bit. Okay. Now, if you have a set of settings that you like, it's very easy to save them as in a theme button. But right now, I'd just like to show you how easy it is to change themes. So I happen to have 4 themes here. So I can, to apply a theme, I simply click on the theme button, and then click the rule disabled, and then look. Over 50 settings that you've made here. All the settings for this, all the settings for your nav, header, subtitle, date. Everything that you can set, everything is stored in the theme, and then later on applied with a single click. Metal theme. Click to apply. Okay, not bad. I put a little thought into the color combinations this time for these things. So if you like a theme and you want to export that theme, great. All you have to do is go to your CSS tab and then export blog main. And then go to your page, let's say home page, and then refresh, and there you go, your theme is applied. By the way, I've placed some extras in the theme folders. These are the ones with the purple dots. So let's say you don't like this background body texture. All you have to do is just rename it by sticking a character here or there, and then take one of the ones that have been set off by being misnamed, and then give them the proper name. So we'll set this to body texture. And now just refresh the page, and look, you have the now instead of that metal texture, it shows this other PNG file along with the default background color specified in the dash, which is this gray. So it shows you how easy it is to change the textures, the default textures. Now we've already seen how easy it is to override the background color specified in the dash with a custom color. It's also super easy to override the background, the default texture, which is body texture, we've made it this now. And then body image, this is the default. These can be overridden as well. So here's an additional transparent repeating pattern that I've just thrown in there. And I've called it fun time. And I will now make it my home page background texture. How? Well, first I make sure that texture is in fact being triggered. So these are my trigger options here. I have a color, which is that gray. I have a card and I have a texture. Actually, I'll change both the color and the texture. So instead of the light gray that we have in the dash, why don't I make it a kind of a purple? How about something like that? And almost a gray, purplish gray. And then the texture is that fun time. And now let's export. So now we're overriding the default texture, which is the metal, and then after that it became the tinderbox icon, and we're overriding the default color. Let's see. Very nice. Very easy to do. So you can override, so you specify what you want with the background options, and if you don't know what the options are, it's a pop-up, pre-populated. Oh, by the way, fixity. I forgot to mention, there's also, so you see how I'm scrolling this and the background scrolls with it? Fixity is another option. So background fixed, export. And now refresh, and let's see. Look, the background is fixed. So let's get rid of that. So image, texture, color, card, namely the home page, and category pages. Let me take you to a category page. See, also you have teasers here. And you don't have to have cards. If card is off, it's going to be that contiguous, softly transparent column with the horizontal rules. This forces the image to fit XYs. This forces the image to fit YYs. And then finally you have background bequeath, which means that everything that you've set here for this card will be bequeathed to its children. Very, very convenient. It saves a lot of time with, you can pass background, you can thematize sections of your work by using the bequeath option. Okay, I think that's a pretty good job we've done here with the background options.